Today we got a special guest, Aaron Berisha. He played 4 seasons in the OHL and won a Memorial Cup with the 15-16 London Knights. Aaron, thank you for taking the time and coming to talk to Cody and I today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So I talked about it while trying to get the interview set up, and a lot of debate has been happening recently. I'll get right into it about what's the best OHL team of all time. Some people say it's the Windsor Spitfire, the 09 Windsor Spitfire team. Warren Reichel's claimed that. You were on one of the teams that was argued to be in that conversation. How do you feel about that debate? Do you think that London team was something special?
Yeah, I mean, definitely our team was something that I guess most teams can't really compete with. But also, I mean, you can't really compete with the fact that we did so well, like in the postseason, and struggled so much in the first round there. I mean, we went, I think it was like 16 or 17 games. It's hard to kind of measure two different teams like that. I mean, I know we kind of give our old assistant coach Dylan Hunter, who won the 05 Mem Cup, we kind of give him grief about we're the better team compared to the 05 Knights. But I mean, if you're trying to compare with like an 09 Spitfire team, I think it's a little bit too difficult to try to compare the two different clubs, you know?
Do you remember being like at the start of the year, so you got Mitch that comes back and then Kachuk joins the team as well. Did you guys think you were going to be that good? Like, was Mem Cup written on the whiteboard at the beginning of the season?
Not right away. I mean, we knew we had a good squad coming into the season, but we just didn't know how well the young guys were going to come in. We had a lot of young guys, like a lot of 98s at the beginning of the year. We traded away a few of them just to kind of free up some space and give the ones that we had, like moving forward, a lot more opportunities to play. And they really did well. I mean, like we had Cliff, Jonesy, those guys up front were dynamic. We had like Parse, who was, in his first year, the year before, who then really came through, for us. And it was like, a staple in that for us and somebody that we could rely on in the back end. So we just got, kind of guys firing all cylinders, like through the beginning of the year. Even we had the guys go to World Junior camps and stuff like that. Like all these younger guys really stepped up, and we made some, key additions at the trade deadline there. Picked up Heffernan, who had some grit, and he was just, another guy that had experience in the league. And then Jake Graves, who another guy that, played, and he was his 5th year in the league, ton of games, was like, just a kind of shut down defenseman that was able to just, make some great passes. And he was just another room guy. Like if you can kind of go through the room and ask any of the guys, like every guy had a great time, coming to the rink, and everybody wanted to be there. It wasn't like guys were, disappointed to go to practice, or it was just always a fun atmosphere. And I think that was one of the things that gave us so much success, and just was just something that I can't really compare to any other team I played for. Was they're just, everybody had so much fun. Everybody loved each other. It was just such an awesome year for me personally.
Yeah, you kind of just touched on how awesome of a year it was for you. You ended up finishing 4th on the team in points and 2nd in goals. Who were your primary line mates that season? What was clicking for you that made you produce at that rate?
Yeah, I mean, I had we kind of switched up first half. I remember I was with my roommate Cole Sherwood, and Owen McDonald, and then we kind of went after the second half of the season. We kind of went to like more of a shutdown role with like one line where Owen, Yakimowicz, and JJ kind of just were like a staple second line, third line, like shutdown line. And they also added like JJ, I think, scored like 30 goals that year. So we just kind of had like all 3 lines like scoring goals. And I moved with Cliff and Max, just a couple of young guys that just had tons of speed. And for them, like, they were given the puck in every opportunity. So it made my job a lot easier to score goals when you're just getting the puck, in any kind of a goal scoring situation.
When you have that many great players together, a lot of people say coaching has to be there and is a big part of it. Would you say Dale Hunter was a big part of that team, or are we just looking at the stars?
No, absolutely. Dale was phenomenal. I mean, not just on the ice, but off the ice. Like he was friendly. Like he was a room guy, yet like you never wanted to like upset him. You never wanted to like disrespect him, or like it was like a weird situation. I never had it where, he was so likable, and, you were like joking, shooting it with him all the time. But then after the same time, he can, snap, and you wouldn't want to look at him sometimes if he was mad, So I think that he just had like the utmost respect for us, and we kind of reciprocated to him, and that's like the kind of the dynamic that we had throughout like the whole room. Like every guy, even though guys are battling sometimes, and that's going to happen on a hockey team, no matter what, we still respect each other, and we still, knew at the end of the day, if we were going to, make something happen, we had to do it together.
Do you think Dale gets enough respect? He's only won, I think, one Coach of the Year award in the last 10 years, which is pretty surprising. Do you think he gets enough respect from the league or followers of junior hockey?
I didn't actually know that. I thought he had a lot more. I mean, I know if you can ask any guy that has been coached by Dale, junior to like guys that moved on, and I'm pretty sure in our Zoom call that we just had like the other week, Chucky was even touching on it. He was like one of his favorite coaches, and I mean, I know from my perspective, the last like 4 years that I've been out of London, I haven't had a coach like that's just been overall as great as Dale. So yeah, it is kind of surprising that he hasn't been recognized as one of the better or one of the the Coach of the Year awards.
And you mentioned it with the Zoom call. Do you still keep in touch with everyone from the team, or like does everyone still have not meetings, but group conversations, or is it kind of everyone with their own path?
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it's actually surprising. Our Zoom call, I think we had like 30 or 40 of the guys, including like coaching staff. We did one like probably a month ago with some of their old Rogers broadcasters, and we had like 25 guys, and then we kind of just did one where they're replaying the Memorial Cup games, and we just had all the boys and some of the coaching staff, like our goalie coach, our video coach, some of the media guys that were involved in the team, and it was just hilarious. Just like it for me coming 4 years away, it's just like you're stepping right back in the change room almost. There's no kind of awkwardness. There's nothing that was unique about it, which is something that like for me just kind of shows how important it was for us to be, just like close that year. Like we were such good friends, like off the ice, and it just translated on the ice. Like, like I was saying before, like guys would do anything for each other.
And I believe that was the season Marner and Dvorak split the captaincy role. So what was it like with that, having two captains? Was one more vocal in the room and one on the ice, or did they kind of split the duties evenly?
Yeah, I mean, for guys that know Dvorak, like Devo, he's not a very talkative guy. Like he's, the way he's going to lead a squad of guys is just through his play. And a lot of guys look up to that. Like he's just a kind of guy that goes about his business. He's working hard in the gym, he's working hard on the ice. And he's like that kind of guy. Martin's more vocal. Like he's, he likes to show that he's having fun and he has fun with the game. Like I'm not saying Devo doesn't have fun with the game, but you could see it more on Martin's face. And like it was, it was a great dynamic. Like both those guys fed off each other, and both the guys are wickedly talented as well as like so hardworking. So to have two of those guys leading the team, it's really good for the young guys to look up to, and they all want to go to the next level as well. Like no one goes into the league thinking, all right, I'm going to play 2 years or 3 years and I'm okay with it. Like a lot of guys, that move on all have to start off at, 16, 17, but work their way up. And usually the guys that they're looking up to are those guys that are already, drafted or have played some games. Like, Devo was up there playing games with Tucson, I think the year before, sorry. So all those guys bring back the tendencies that they get from pro and like, the pro camp experience and whatnot.
Marner put up some ridiculous numbers that year, and as happy as you guys were to have him back, do you think he could have, or was he ready to play in the NHL that year, you think?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, his like a vision and just talent's ridiculous. I mean, he's off the charts. So I definitely think he could have been an impact player, even if he was what would have been 18 going in the league. So obviously one more year didn't kind of help it, or didn't hurt his development. And especially the year that we had, I don't think he would have changed it in a sense to play one more year or to play that year in the National League.
And then one guy I kind of wanted to touch on is Olli Levy, who has yet to make the NHL, but was drafted extremely high and seems like he's on his way there. What was so special about him? Because he doesn't seem like a guy who makes a lot of high danger chances and stuff like that. He just seems like he keeps it simple. Yeah,
just like you said, I mean, he kept it simple. Like he was great on the power play. Like he was really, really good just getting that the shot through at the top of the point. A phenomenal like skater. He was really good at making that first pass, and he was like really good defensively for not a overly big or like super strong guy. Like he still had a great stick, and he was a good skater. So he's like surprised a lot of guys. And that's probably why he got drafted so high, in my opinion.
Another player, like a lot of people mention how many guys have played in the NHL from that team, or at least one game. Evan Bouchard, though, he was a rookie. Did you kind of see it in him when you saw him play? And how much did he contribute to the team that year?
Oh yeah, like Bouch and like Robbie, like the young guys that we had, like the 16-year-olds. like their work ethic was, insane. I mean, those guys were on the ice after practice for like hour, 2 hours in the weight room with our trainer Dougie. Like the work ethic they had, like you could see that they're going to, be great players. They obviously had the skill. What most like 16-year-olds don't have is the confidence. And, for them, like a lot of guys that were older, like, sometimes can destroy the confidence in practice or in the room and stuff like that. But, we had a room where, guys were comfortable just being themselves, doing their thing and trying to be like, trying to be flashy at times, trying to just try things they normally wouldn't try. And I think that's like for them, they were great players right from the get-go. So they didn't really have an adjustment kind of period, in my opinion. And then you saw like the next year they both flourished and, had great like 17-year-old seasons.
Now, you personally, you played for St. Mary's after, and now you're playing in the Austrian League, right? Well, not right now, I guess, but what do you think of the OHL as, giving you guys opportunities or creating other paths for you? So you got an education and now are playing some type of pro hockey. Do you think the OHL does a really good job at that?
Yeah, I mean, to get like your education for free is hard to kind of pass up. I know a lot of my friends that, were involved in sports, they have like $30,000-$40,000 in school debt. And obviously like they're coming out of school at, 22, 23. I came out at 24, a little bit like, 24, 25, some guys would come out and some guys might be thinking about, well, it's a little bit longer road instead of going to NCAA. But the experience that I had in junior hockey, like me personally, I could speak on was incredible. I mean, obviously winning Memorial Cup isn't something that's like as common as, most people think, but it really capped off the year. And I mean, I had a great time in Belleville and I made some really good friends there. And even London, like, you have so many people that I can still talk to, like my billets, I still keep in touch with from London and as well as Belleville. Like there's just so many like memories I've made in both spots. And obviously I can't speak on NCAA, but I know that either route, for me, the OHL was awesome and I wouldn't have changed it at all.
And then you kind of touched on, since you played with multiple organizations, there's always that, not stigma, but that mentality that London is the best of the best in terms of OHL teams and facilities and the way they take care of their players. Did you notice much of a difference when being traded to London, or is it about the same?
I mean, in the sense of like just facilities wise, like, yeah, you can obviously the Budweiser's like our arena there, the Bud Gardens still is probably one of the best rinks in junior hockey, let alone the OHL. I mean, the Yardman was awesome. Like we had a great playoff run my first year and like it was packed, but having like, it was like 4,000 fans would be filled for us to like 9,500 or whatever it is in London. It just, you can't compare those kind of things. Both organizations treat players very well. Obviously there's just like two different ways of going about it. Like Dale and those guys are super professional, but they're also, they know your kids. They let you have fun with it. Like when I was in Belleville, I found myself just a lot more, kind of scared to make a mistake. Maybe that was because I was younger, but I think that, either way, you're going to have a great time if you're playing in the OHL. And, at the end of the day, if you're working hard, coaches are going to respect that and they're going to give you every opportunity to succeed, no matter what club you're playing for.
And I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to this, but is there one moment you look back on your OHL career and that's the moment you think of when thinking of your time in the O?
Yeah, I mean, our last year was like, I just had tons of those moments. One of the moments was we were out for dinner. I mean, and like just before the year even was kind of getting going, like all the guys were going to like, NHL camps and like it was just one of those things that we always laugh about all the time because one fan came up to us and was like, kind of yelling at us from like the car saying, you guys are going to win a Memorial Cup this year. And I'm pretty sure I was with, Yakimowitz, McDonald and a couple other guys. And we were just kind of laughing like, I think it was like September. So, 8 months away from Memorial Cup. And I remember we saw the same fan when we flew back from Red Deer and we were just like, just like cackling. We couldn't even keep ourselves together because it was like the same guy saying, I told you guys, you're going to do it. So those like just some of those memories, like there's probably a dozen to like 20 of them that, come to mind here. But that was one of the ones that stuck out for me. And I mean, obviously when you're hoisting the cup in the OHL championship, that was like amazing, like going on a run for us, like, and having my family there in both Red Deer and in Niagara was special. So there's so many memories that I kept and, I still like, we still reminisce about, and it's obviously very nice when all the boys are all the same guys. Like, I can call up any of the guys and it'd be just like talking 4 years ago. Like we can still, share the same story, share the same laughs that we had back in junior,
Well, Aaron, I just want to thank you for your time and thanks for talking to us and giving your opinion on the Twitter debate of who the best OHL team of all time is. So thanks again, and we hope maybe to talk to you again in the future.
No problem. It was a pleasure.